We are live. Okay, let's go ahead and start the meeting then. This is August 27th, 2024, and we're going to kick off a Lake Stevens City Council meeting, coming back from a little break. We are down at the mill, downtown Lake Stevens, and we are also online. And this will be published on our YouTube channel later. So with that, I would ask everyone to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, great. Can we get a roll call?
Let me just do a quick, Councilmember Donahue, is that you in the meeting?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Let me just. Saw iPad and I wanted to be sure it was you. Okay, Councilmember Daughtry,
Present.
Councilmember Peters Hagan,
Present.
Councilmember Donahue,
Present.
Councilmember Shipman,
Present.
Councilmember Georgestad,
Present.
Councilmember Ewing,
Present.
Councilmember Tadget.
Present.
All right, great. Can we get an approval of the agenda, Council President?
Yes, we can. We have, I believe, one change that Councilmember Daughtry would like to make.
I'd like to move consent agenda item Charlie to the Blue Bridge 51C3, an action item. So we can get a little briefing on that by Chief Bezos.
We have a motion.
Second?
Oh,
I'll move to approve the amended agenda.
Okay, any other changes that anyone looking at? Okay, all those in favor of the amended agenda?
aye.
Aye.
I do have one question. I know the chief sent an email. Is he prepared to address the concerns that were raised?
I'm not sure that it went out in time, so I do not have any concerns. I just want to have it
Okay.
explain what it really is
Okay.
and how it actually works.
Okay.
I'm perfectly fine with what he's going to say.
Okay, we have an approved agenda.
All right, great, thanks. All right, let's kick off some guest business. We have a great opportunity to hear the newish Lake Stevens School District Superintendent, Dr. Mary Templeton.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is my spot.
That's
Thank you.
that is the focus.
This is it. I'm here. All right. Yes, thank you, Dr. Mary Templeton. I am the new superintendent of the Lake Stevens School District. Whoop, whoop. I am still excited. And I believe this is week 7. Yeah, I feel like I've been here a lot longer than that, but I have to tell you, just thrilled to be joining your community. And when I say that, I want to give you a couple examples. Being at the farmer's market has been delightful. The small town feel, the community sense that you have, the special place that you've created that has a sense of its own. It has a personality and it's special. And I said to myself, how is that possible where you have about 43,000 residents? And I'm actually one of them now, where I've moved to Lake Stevens as your new superintendent. And I thought, how is that possible? I'm not quite sure. I'm trying to analyze it. But what I think it is people believe in this community. I know they believe in our school district. I know that we are a draw as a school district. The reputation is strong. The foundation of excellence is solid. And my job as the new superintendent is to make sure that I recognize the excellence that we have, identify why it's excellent, celebrate the heck out of it, and make sure that we continue that excellence, and then forge forward to continue that legacy of excellence by making sure that in every classroom, on every bus, in every hallway, in every lunch line, that each student is known and that they belong. That's what I want for my own children. That's what I demand. And so for the 10,000 students and their families who trust us with their most precious human beings, I commit to making sure that we're knowing and valuing and seeing and welcoming each student so that when they leave us, and they will, that they become those future successful citizens and perhaps sitting in your seats, because that's who they'll be. It's a lovely place. And most likely that's after they tell you, are you kidding? I am leaving. I am not coming back. I'm not raising a family here, but they'll be back because the quality of life that you find here is special. And when they come back, they will be our neighbors. They'll be our voters, our taxpayers, and perhaps even our in-laws. Let that sink in. So the responsibility that I have accepted, I believe it to be great, but it is the best work ever. And part of that work to make sure that that legacy of excellence continues is recognizing those who are in our community, recognizing the strengths that are brought to the table by each family, their perspective. And by the way, they're not the same. We have lots of different views and perspectives, and that's what makes us interesting. And I'm hopeful that we can create an atmosphere of curiosity as we talk about those things that we have to talk about, as we celebrate the successes that we have had and will have, and as we plan to ensure a ticket, a first-class ticket to the future for each student, 10,000 of them, and for the next 10,000, and for the next 10,000. So again, I'm thrilled to be here. I've met a few of you and had some really great conversation. I look forward to a career in Lake Stevens. I look forward to being with you in this setting. I invite you to come to our board meetings as well. As Councilmember Shipman was there, I think I met you the first time. So thank you for that. And thank you for your support. Thank you for your belief in public education. We are the bedrock of democracy. And we are all of us products of public education, not all of us, but many of us are. And our success and our satisfaction with life, a lot of that has to do with what happened in our K-12 experience. So again, I take it seriously. I'm passionate about it, and I'm optimistic for the future. So thank you for welcoming me, and I look forward to getting to know everybody a lot better. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Mary. Thank you. Well, it's great to have you on board, and I know that you hit the ground absolutely sprinting instead of running, which is good because there's a lot going on in the city. So.
And shoes as well, not just these.
Yeah. All right, let's go to citizens' comments. We've got anybody online for citizens' comments, Kelly?
Nobody online.
Nobody online.
Nobody online.
They're all out enjoying the hour of sun in between rain showers, which is great. Bruce, let's hear about the Weir.
So Bruce Morton, 11222 Vernon Road. And surprise, surprise, I'm not here to talk about flock cameras for once. Yeah, a couple months ago, and I think it was actually the last city council meeting you had, Shannon Ferrant gave a really good presentation about the Weir. As a lakefront waterfront homeowner, this was a topic or is a topic that is of particular concern to me and to many others who I know. And just wanted to give my comments, and the things that I'm going to share with you, I have shared with Shannon by email, so she knows my thoughts. There was a really good graph in her presentation that showed the average lake level for each of the 4 options that she presented. I think there was a little bit of misunderstanding in the city council about the scale of that graph. It was not inches, it's feet. The lake varies quite a bit. The scale on that was minimum to maximum about 3.5 feet every year. And then if on top of that, there's waves, we're talking about a 5-foot variance between the lowest level and the highest level. And so when people complain about not being able to get their boat off and the waves crashing upon and destroying their property, that's a concern. I had always thought that we were going to have an automated weir. And I saw that the regulatory hurdles for that are significant. But I and many of the lakefront owners would prefer to at least try to see if that really is indeed an insurmountable regulatory hurdle. There's one thing on that report that I wish there was, like I said, there was that one graph that had average levels. I would I asked Shannon to see if she could produce an equivalent table or chart that has minimum and maximum levels. The average, we don't care about. What we care about is how low can each one of those options go and how high can each one of those options go. So that way we can judge. We want something that has higher or lower maximums and higher minimums as their projection. That's where we care the most. And if we're not able to have an automated weir, and I have some doubts about the fixed berm, because once we have it in there, it's fixed. We can't change it. There's nothing we can do. If we have heavy winter or a dry summer, we can't do anything about it. At least with the weir as we have it, we have some ability to modify the level of the lake. So my preference, if we don't have an automated weir, given the information that we have right now, just stick with the cheapest option. Just fix the road and keep the weir that we have. It's been working fine for what, 50 years, 60 years? I mean, I wouldn't say fine because there's still people that complain about it, but at least it's something that's a known quantity. So anyway, that's my comment. Thanks.
Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate it. All right, let's go to council business. Council President.
Just a note, looks like we're going to cancel the September 10th next Tuesday, or excuse me, 2 weeks from tonight, council meeting. So put that on your agenda. A number of folks are going to the conference, stormwater conference in Atlanta. So it would just be a couple of us, Public Works. So just note there. So with that, Councilmember Tangent, like to start off?
Nice break. Nothing to report.
Okay.
I just want to thank especially the volunteers and the sponsors of Aquafest. They did an outstanding job. I wasn't there all 3 days. The mayor was. And also want to comment on Dr. Templeton's comment, seeing you there at multiple farmers markets, engaging the public, and it is an extraordinary venue for us. And so I'm grateful for Sarah Jensen and her team that are helping work with our staff to make that a positive event.
Yeah. Councilmember Georgetown.
Thank you. Also just want to echo how lovely it's been this summer to spend time here in North Cove Park and coming to the farmers market and Aquafest and seeing, I think I said to him, meager resources and even more meager volunteers pull off a pretty awesome Aquafest. I heard just a ton of positive feedback, and it's just great to see the community come together. I also got to be a part of a group that rented a facility at Lundin Park and heard them just talk about how great the process was and how smooth it was and what a beautiful space it is. And it's really nice to be a part of the city and hear just good feedback over and over again. So I enjoyed the break. It's great to be here tonight. It's great to see everyone. I think that's it. Thanks.
Great. Councilmember Shippen.
Not much to say because we were on break, other than I'm really happy to be back. I'm glad to see us back. I'm looking forward to the fall. Welcome, Dr. Templeton. I'm excited to go to our school board meetings and hear, our new superintendent. And I know a lot of our families are excited. I was a family, like you said, the reason I moved to Lake Stevens was our school. So I'm excited to see you here. Thank you for coming tonight. And I'm looking forward to the fall.
Great. Councilmember Donahue.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. First off, my apologies for not being there. I have what I'm now fairly certain is a mild to moderate case of food poisoning. But I, up until then, had a great break. And last week I attended the Planning Commission meeting where Senior Planner Levitan and Director Wright walked us through the comprehensive plan draft that we've been picking away at so far. It was a great presentation. Unfortunately, there was nobody in attendance from the public. The draft copy is still online, so I would highly encourage anybody who's interested to go find that and take a look at it, because there's a lot of great material in there that a lot of people would probably find relevant.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Daughtry.
Has been a great break. I participated a little bit in Aquafest and
Just a little bit.
just a little bit. And then a couple things are happening here at the end of this month. Linwood Light Rail is opening That's a big deal for what's going to be happening in our transportation area on I-5 because of what's going to happen on I-5 here shortly. So getting Linwood Light Rail, even though it's only about 50%, we're going to be able to open that up and alleviate some of the problems that are going to be on our Revive I-5 projects. The other thing that's going to happen 2 weeks later is Community Transit is going to be doing a major shift in how they do their bus lines. And basically what that means is they're going to stop going to Seattle. So there's not going to be, because Linwood Light Rail, we don't need to go to Seattle anymore. And there's going to be a heck of a lot of changes in all of their routes throughout the county. And there's adding a whole bunch of routes and a bunch of changes. And it's going to be really, really good for citizens of Lake Stevens and the counties everywhere. It's pretty impressive and it's a lot of hours. So it's, I can't wait for it to happen.
Could you enlighten us as to what's taking place on I-5?
I-5, yeah, I-5 is shutting down all but one lane. It's called Revive I-5. And it's going to be in, I think, the north, no, south, I think it's going south. And which is why it affects us the most. And I could be wrong about that. I don't know why I'm not remembering if it's north or south. But down to one lane, one way, and it's just going to be a nightmare. And they know it. And because of what was going to happen, basically Sound Transit, Community Transit, King County Metro, Pierce Transit all got together to figure out how to stop WashDOT from doing it until we were ready. And then what that meant was to get Sound Transit ready to be able to do that. And they couldn't make it for 100%, but the headways are 8 minutes and it's going to be pretty good. So if we can get everybody to use transit to get to, or go down to the Linwood Transit Center or the one a little bit further south, and we can get everybody downtown the way they need to go, and it's 8-minute headways and it's straight through. So it's going to be a lot better than even on the buses.
How long are the lanes closed?
It's a long time.
A long time?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like a week? No, like
Or 2
months, like months.
Months?
For those of us who commute, appreciate your uplifting comments. Like, wow, thanks, Kim. I thought you were on the Board of Transportation.
Not on WashDOT.
So Kim, those changes, I understand, are the most radical changes that Sound Transit has done since their inception, as far as the restructuring of the routes to taking away routes and adding routes. So there's going to be a lot of
For community
learning curve
transit,
for
yeah.
people as they adjust to those changes.
And it was a really big change for Sound Transit also, because with, what they had attempted to do, they had to pull resources to push back onto I-5 up into Linwood so that we could actually make that happen. So they've changed tremendous amount of infrastructure and people and things to get that accomplished. And it all happened this year. We recognized it at the beginning of the year and it was, okay, everybody get your heads together and figure out how we're going to do this. So it's been pretty impressive to watch.
Thank you. Well, it was good to be off. It's good to be back. So we got a lot of stuff going on in September. Hopefully everybody's got on their calendar, September 13th. We have a retreat here at the mill, 9 o'clock, right? 8:30?
Yeah, 8:30.
9 o'clock. Okay, till about 4. I stole your thunder. So, and then also just a reminder, we do have an opening on the planning commission that we're taking applications for, correct? And so,
We have one applicant and we're looking for more.
Seriously, there's only one?
Yes,
one formal.
applicant.
All right. How long is that?
Who's that?
It closed Friday, but I only did get the one application, so we'll go back out again and try to get a few
2
more.
weeks or so.
Yeah.
All right, the planning commission, invaluable resource, so it's nice to have full complement there. So anyway, with that, that's all I got. So
Great.
let's move forward.
All right. Good reports. As far as a little bit of what I have going on, it's fun to watch the 91st project, the sidewalk project. I drive by it every day and those guys are tearing it up. They're getting it going. It's fun to watch. And it'll be good so they're supposed to have before school starts. From 4th to 8th done. That's what their goal is. So that's great. Yeah.
She sounds suspicious.
I'm confident and I'm thankful.
Okay. Work.
The weather's not been cooperating
Yeah.
for concrete course.
Yeah.
It's an aggressive project.
But it's fun to see the Transportation Benefit District money, tax dollars going towards that and building out what everyone wants in the city, which is sidewalks. So that's great. I also took an opportunity a couple weeks ago to go see the Westlake Park project, and it's how it's going. It's pretty cool. If you get a chance, I would recommend you go to the corner of 12th and 87th. That's where the parking lot trailhead portion is being constructed. And it's pretty cool to see what we've done in that location. That's southeast. As part of that project. And I don't think the bridge has been put in yet either, but should be pretty soon. So that project's going well. And one of the things we did a couple of weeks ago, we met with Marysville and made sure that we strengthened our relationship with them on the overall whole Bayview Trail and way forward. What we'll probably look at doing in this legislative session, and council can obviously put their 2 cents on this, but is do a dual ask for some additional money for that project to build more of that out. So lots of great stuff going on. I'll be off in DC next week for a different trip, but I'm combining it with meeting with some of our with NLC as well as some of our representatives back there back there, and then we'll flow that right into the APWA conference. So I think that's all I have. So let's go to city department reports. Kelly, let's talk about public records requests and how much time FTEs that those take for usually somebody not even in our country. But go ahead.
We do have out of country requests. He is correct. But we have to respond to every one of them. So that's how that rolls. So I'm going to talk tonight about 2023 because we spend over $100,000 in staff and equipment and attorney costs on public records requests every year. We're obligated by state law to report to the JVAC. And so I'll talk a little bit about that. And again, we reported July 15th of this year for 2023. We're on track to do a lot more in 2024, and you'll hear that report next year. So in 2023, we took in 1,801 requests. Certainly that's City Hall and police. 1,765 of them were closed within that same year. 1,364 were closed within 5 business days. So always striving to get those done and closed as soon as we can, but there's certainly some that take a lot longer. And then 754 requests were partially denied or redacted. Those take a lot more time as we have to work with our city attorney and redact personnel information, or of course, police have their own redactions as well. I won't go over all the number of requests by requester, but you can kind of see how many are individuals, how many of them were the media, governments, other organizations. And when it comes to costs, so estimated staff hours in 2023 was 1,753. I again anticipate it being even more in 2024, just due to the number of requests, and we're doing better in capturing those staff hours. So average is 1 hour per request. Certainly for those easier ones. One example I wanted to give just a couple lines down was we just closed one in 2024 that was 53 staff hours and costs $3,200 in staff costs. And I will tell you, it was a requester that had requested from probably 35 different agencies, trying to make sure we were keeping the right logs and things. So that one took a long time. And of course, we can't recoup a lot of those costs. So that was an expensive one, but estimated total staff costs were $98,000 with an average cost of $50 or $54 per request. Cost of our system, which is our software to track our request, was $17,000. But happy to say no claims alleging any violation of our Public Records Act. in 2023, nor up to present now in 2024. So that is a good thing. In 2023, we paid our city attorney for help on these requests, about $14,000. So that's Greg and Andrew from your firm that we use quite a bit. And we recovered in 2023, $813. So we're putting a lot more out than we're bringing back in. But we do what we can. Caitlin put a note in here. Some of the trends we're seeing is that we're getting multiple requests at the same time from one requester. The one thing we do have in our policy is that we can put on hold. We can take the first request first and put the rest on hold until we complete that one, and then we can go to the next one. And then also we're seeing potentially some requests being powered by AI. We think AI generated requests that came to 6 different people here at the city. And we're seeing from other jurisdictions, this is happening there too. So I don't know if they're trying to catch us on, not receiving the request within 5 business days or not responding within 5 business days, but those have been a little challenging. Anyway, so that is kind of the year of 2023. You're going to hear from me in 2024, and all of these numbers have gone up. So they take a lot of our time, and we try really hard to give the best customer service, respond within a timely manner. But some of these are they're complex and they take a lot of time. Caitlin is constantly, and myself, reviewing thousands of emails sometimes for one request. So we get them done as quickly as we can. And anyway, just wanted to kind of give you an update on that.
Any questions for Kelly?
One quick question. You said there were 1,801 total requests. Do you have an idea of what percentage or how many of those were law enforcement versus the rest of the city?
More than half
Were
police.
police?
Yeah,
That's
police
helpful.
definitely get hit quite a bit. And then you're going to see a huge number, and again in 2024 with body worn camera footage requests.
Can I just add, we're up about 300% on request right now.
I'm sorry, say that again.
We're up 300% on request compared to last year already.
Thank you.
How do you know that some of the requests are AI generated? What's the tip off, or what's the reasoning behind that? Do you say it's
I
AI?
might be able to answer that a little bit better.
Just the way that it's formatted, plus they're harvesting email addresses. So, this is one of the things that we've kind of talked about in IT is minimally putting people's email addresses on the website, because that's how they're harvesting. And they just have to spam an email address, and it was the same request coming to multiple mailboxes. And so what they're doing is finding, contacts and hitting you. And so you have 5 days to respond to that stuff. And you can kind of tell a little bit from the context of the document. It was poorly written.
And whether it comes into a maintenance worker's email box or somebody in the police department or Sarah as the parks director, even if it doesn't go to the person that's going to be responding, you still have to receipt it and respond within 5 business days. So I was constantly checking our email archive there for a couple of weeks, making sure I was capturing any of them that we got and making sure we were responding accordingly. So it's been a lot.
Other jurisdictions having these
Yeah.
this spike in requests.
Yeah.
Is there anything on the horizon to help spot those, or does it even matter that they're AI? I mean, I know that we have to respond to them, but is there anything on the horizon to help you guys with that type of an issue?
I'm looking at you, Greg, but one of the things that the Municipal Clerks Association for Washington State is doing right now is we're compiling all of this and trying to show trends and some of the issues and struggles that the cities and counties are having. And we're putting that all together for the lobbyists to look at in AWC. But as far as what we can do about it, I'll let you take that.
Yeah, in fact, I was listening today to a 2-hour presentation dealing with the Public Records Act, and one of the speakers was the Assistant Attorney General that's assigned to that duties with his department, and there was participant from NRSC. But the fact that Washington has probably the most liberal act is in the United States. Judiciary treats it very liberally. There's have been no real bills in recent sessions that have really tried to tackle probably what it appeared to be the main issues that we have here in Washington, dealing with people can basically request volumes and volumes and volumes of records without limitation, pretty much without limitation. The only restriction in the act is you can't request every record that the city has. Apparently that's for some reason we prohibit that, but not anything short of that you can do. And the assistant AG was describing, because the people listening to this were people that represent requesters as well as people that represent jurisdictions. Pointed out, yeah, people need to be reminded, you can make a request every day, a different one. You can make 2 or 3 different requests every day. Our law permits that. It's just like totally unrestricted. So I think it's good though that we're actually now collecting data, and hopefully we'll be able to score some points with the legislature in the near future on that. I think it's important, I said this, and I think that we look at that data and that we draft some bills and we give those bills to our lobbyists and not rely on the legislature. Yeah, of course, we need to find sponsors, but I think it's important that the cities try to really get a better grasp upon what are the most significant issues and then tailor some legislation to address that don't destroy really what the purpose of the intent of the Public Records Act is. So, but it's a tough issue, tough problem.
Are we working with AWC since this is a common issue across the 283 cities?
Yeah,
towns,
it's
state?
very much on AWC's radar. And we're talking about it in the legislative committee on what we want to try to put forward to it. I think that anytime you start talking about that in the legislature, you get some really polarizing hits on it. And First Amendment speech, all that kind of stuff. So, but it is on AWC's radar, and we're looking at some stuff in the legislative committee.
Am I right in understanding they can send it to anybody
Yeah,
and
They
not
send it
just
to you.
one voice?
right.
So they can send it to anyone, and should someone not recognize it and not hit that 5-day, they're there to try to take advantage of that situation.
Some are, yeah, and even verbally.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody could be, a maintenance worker could be approached by a citizen out in the field. And they say, hey, I want a copy of this and this. So Caitlin and I are always stressing, people are probably sick of hearing about it, but at our staff meetings, like, please, if you think you got a request, please come and tell us, like, let us decide or contact that person, just so that we don't miss that 5 business day window. And staff's been great about that, so. Yeah. We're doing our very best to stay on top of it all.
Well, thank you, Kelly.
Yeah.
I appreciate all you guys do.
Kelly made a great point. We haven't been taking the court. Nobody's been challenging us on the decision regarding what needs to be included in excise from our records productions, and that's all very good. Her staff does, I think, an incredible job, and works well with Andrew. And,
Yeah.
so at least we're scoring points. Yeah.
Any other questions for Kelly? All right, let's keep Kelly on.
Okay, yes, one more quick thing, and this will be quicker. Okay, city council retreat, as council president mentioned, is Friday, September 13th in this room. We're thinking about an 8:30 start, coffee, light breakfast. We'll start the actual retreat at 9 o'clock. Our agenda items are budget, staffing plan, parks 5-year plan, speed and traffic cameras court, and new city hall court update. So just want to make sure you guys knew what those agenda items were. If you have any questions or additions, let us know. Hopefully conclude by 4, if not earlier. see how the day goes.
So is that an order of priority or is that just those 5 items will be discussed? How are we determining the order of priority?
Yeah, I think it's just those 5 items will be discussed at this point. I'm not sure about.
But as far as order of priority,
I think budget, we'll definitely get budget.
This is definitely budget, budget concentric, but there's a lot of, most of these items actually fall into the budget realm. So we're not sure what order they'll be in, but it's all budget related.
Are we going to be on the budget? Are we going to talk about specific budget for 2025? Or are we going to be talking also about changes to the way we do our budget?
Changes to what?
Changes the way that we do our budget. It has come up, it has come up in the past that we might go to a 2-year budget or not. Are we going to discuss that?
If we were to do that, I believe we would have had to do that already. You have to do it in the odd years,
Okay.
so we would have to do that already at this point.
Yeah, if you want to go to a 2-year budget.
Right.
Yeah,
So we have to do that on an odd year?
yeah, because it has to match up with the DOR, Washington Department of Revenue numbers or something.
We're not going to talk about that this time. Good.
Yeah, we would have had to kind of already had that in place to approve for the 2025-26 budget. So we can talk about that next year if we want to look at that for the future.
So we'll have lunch catered in this room and the whole meeting is open to the public. So just let everybody know, we'll get that agenda and pack it out. Just talking about September dates quickly, as Council President mentioned, we will meet next week for a workshop on September 3rd. Right now, the only item is the comp plan update, but I understand it's lengthy. So far, that's our only item that night. Then we will cancel September 10th. We'll have the retreat on September 13th. And then September 17th is scheduled for a workshop, probably a special meeting at this point, since we've got a little bit of a gap. But I'll keep you posted. And then the rest is regular at this point. So, and that's it for me.
Any questions for Kelly? All right, great. Let's go to our Public Works capital projects. Do we have maybe Lori or is Eric here? I don't know who's online.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's
Lori?
just me tonight.
It's the assistant acting Public Works Director, Lori.
Something like that. And when I'm not the acting Public Works Director, I'm the Public Works Analyst. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump to it. I'm going to, maybe Kelly, can you let me share my screen?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Give it a moment to pop up here. Okay, here we go. So I am going to go ahead and give us just a quick update on some of our capital projects that we have underway right now. And a quick note before I get to actually updating you on the projects, I just want to throw out there that we do have some really great project web pages now that we can navigate to. There's an active link here in the memo in the packet as well. But you're welcome to also navigate to these pages to find out additional information that I won't be covering here tonight. Okay, so, and the other thing I'll mention too is that if you have any questions that I'm not able to answer, or if you think of anything after tonight's meeting, you're welcome to reach out to our project manager for these projects. His name is Eric Mangold and his email address is right there at the top here. Okay, so as far as the projects, the first one I'll touch base on is this one here, the Westlake Park and Bayview Trail. This was formerly called the 20th Street Ballfields. So as far as what this project is, it's essentially a really cool project where we're working on creating a new trail for walking, jogging, and biking. And the work also includes the construction of a parking lot, benches, and a dog park. As far as the schedule for this project, the groundbreaking ceremony took place just a couple of weeks ago at the end of July, and construction is scheduled to be completed by late October or early November. Our construction contract for this project was about $980,000. Okay, and then here's a picture right here about where that project is happening. The next project I'll touch on briefly is the 91st Avenue Southeast Sidewalk. This is the Phase 1 project. It's happening between Marketplace to 8th Street Southeast.
And essentially what this is working on is creating a continuous pedestrian and bicycle route on the east side of 91st Avenue Southeast. So this will benefit the Hillcrest Elementary School, the Skyline Elementary, and the Lake Stevens Middle School for the students. As far as the schedule for this, construction is actually underway now. And the goal is to have the sidewalk segments that are adjacent to the schools to be completed and accessible before school starts in September. As far as the construction contract costs, this one was about $1.3 million. And it should be noted that this project also received a $442,000 grant from the Transportation Improvement Board.
Hey, Laurie, can I just,
Yes.
I love the QR code on the signs that you have for the TBD. So people just, take a picture of that and they can see all the details.
Yeah.
We're the only city that I've seen in Snohomish County that has that. And so it's super helpful, for people that want to get an update on that.
And I've
Wonderful.
rec-
Thanks for
I've
that
received
feedback.
I've received comments from citizens on those also, and the big comment I got was, what's the transportation benefit program? I said, it's something you voted for.
Or not.
Or not.
Or not.
So, yeah, it was, and they did say, that the one person did say that they did the QR code and went to try to figure out what was going on and thought it was very, very helpful.
Wonderful. Thanks for that feedback. As far as, and actually I've got two more notes that aren't up here on this project for 91st. There will be some lane shifts that are coming our way with that project, but we are actively working with community transit and the school board, or the school district rather, to make sure that we're communicating when those lane shifts will happen and what to expect. The next project I'll touch on is the 2024 pavement preservation program. Long story short, this is a program we've had for a few years now, and this year's program is bigger than last year's program. And we have, you can see down here in this area, we have 6 segments that are being improved right now. 4 of the 6 are complete, so we just have 2 left. The 2 that are still left are sites 2 and 3. Site 2 is at 20th Street Northeast, Ashley Point to 116th Avenue Northeast. And also site number 3, which is 4th Street Northeast, State Route 9 to 99th Avenue Northeast. So that's exciting. Lots of good stuff going on there.
Hey, Laurie, are they holding
Yes.
off on the striping until all those projects are done and doing all those at once? So I've noticed at least 3 of the projects have the asphalt there, but no
Yeah.
permanent striping. And so
That's a good question. I don't know off the top of my head, but I'll be sure to follow up on your question. Good question. Okay, so then the last project that I will cover tonight is the citywide long line striping and the thermoplastic project. So this is essentially refreshing long line striping and thermoplastic at crosswalks, stop lines, and traffic symbols at high priority locations throughout the city. So this is work that we're working with a contractor to finish up. The work is scheduled to begin in mid-September, and it may continue into October. It's really weather dependent on when we can do this project. If I remember correctly, the weather has to be about 50 degrees or warmer in order for that thermoplastic to cure the way it needs to. The cost for this project is about $155,000. This map here shows us where the sites are for where the long line striping will occur. And that's all I've got. Are there any other questions at this point?
I just appreciate Public Works getting up to our newly constructed roundabouts and cleaning up the mess that's up there. I think I made a comment a couple of weeks ago after that traffic sign got run over that's still sitting there from WashDOT. So WashDOT's inactivity to get things done is always frustrating. So I appreciate the city stepping to clean things up. It just looks so much better. So
I do have one thing we might want to look at. I was going through there the other day when it was raining cats and dogs and the sprinklers are all running. So don't they have rain sensors on their sprinkler system? Seems a little ridiculous.
those are crude sprinkler systems. They have above ground PVC. So
Yeah, they're
very much
temporary.
temporary until the plants are established, after which they'll be removing the PVC because irrigation will no longer be necessary.
Okay, I guess I could, look. Okay,
I walked through in the rain with those too. So I share your concern why they were watering during pouring down rain. So
Just never have enough rain.
Yeah, we do.
Sometimes we can.
We got plenty of rain.
Sometimes we can have a lot of rain.
I reached out to WASDOT last week with my concerns of the signage and was told that the green one that's been laying down is supposed to be replaced this week. So we'll see.
Did you take a bet on that?
I don't do a lot of Vegas stuff.
There's also the barrier.
That's one you could win.
Yes.
That's also the barrier that's off into the weeds down on 204 too, so that's a washed-out barrier.
Yeah.
Hey, Laura, can I say one more thing? So I
Yes.
appreciate the signage that you put up in advance of those projects where they're going to be closing down a road, and it gives the time period. And so that's super helpful for the people that are going to be impacted by that. So adequate signage and stuff. So that's been really outstanding.
Wonderful. Thank you for that feedback.
And I just had a question about the sidewalks.
Yeah.
So the map is for the striping, the long line striping. As far as your sidewalks, as I zoom in on the map and I look at like this area of the lake where we have a lot of schools, are the sidewalk, or not the sidewalk, excuse me, the crosswalks going to be, a lot of them are really faded. Are they going to be updated particularly around our schools?
Sorry, I'm just reading through the memo to see if I have the answer right here for you. I don't know if I can answer that confidently at this moment. Sorry, I don't normally do the reporting out for the capital projects, but we can follow back up with that and get
Yeah,
you
I
an
would like to hear
answer.
back with school starting, because as I'm looking at all these numbers and we look at this corner of the lake, there's no numbers and there's a lot of schools.
Okay.
So just want to make sure those are getting addressed.
For sure.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
And Councilmember Ewing, I did get a response. Kim Clinkers, our city engineer, is listening right now. So she heard your question regarding the striping. And she said that some striping will be complete this Friday for the roads that are already paved, specifically 113th Avenue near Highland Elementary.
Lori, does the city have the capability to do what, not the thermoplastic, but just striping in general? Does the city have the ability to do some of that ongoing maintenance, or do we contract all that out?
I believe for anything other than long line striping, we do have the capability to do it in-house. A lot of it has to do with weather and other components, but we do have that capability.
I would agree with Councilmember Shipman. There's a lot of areas in this city where the striping is faded beyond recognition. And it would seem like we need to be doing a little bit more than what's on this little map here. Just from a safety standpoint.
Absolutely.
And our insurance, the city's insurance, and things of that sort.
And to put it in context a little bit too, these are just our 4 capital projects that we're reporting out on. So some other projects may not be at that capital level. They may just be maintenance and operation based projects.
Okay. Maybe if you could get back to us with a schedule on some of those things, maybe.
Sure. We can totally do that.
Activity in the city would be helpful.
And if there's any specific that you're curious about, or if it's like Council Member Shipman was mentioning, like around schools, we can provide that report to you.
Yeah. Okay. That'd be great. Yeah. Thank you.
And always remember citizen view. I mean, if you think you've got a crosswalk that's really leaded, hit citizen view on it and we'll throw it as a work order. Yeah. And I've been a member of many very intricate, highly elaborate military operations, but not one like the cleaning of the roundabouts. If you didn't watch it happen, it was pretty cool. It was done at about 10 a.m. last Thursday.
The blowers and everything.
We had blowers and sweepers and police officers, and it was all hands on board.
No, it's great. It's great. I mean, it's the
It was
image
fun.
of the city, the people
Yeah.
that come through that corridor and stuff. If it's a mess,
Yeah,
first impressions.
it was fun to watch those guys get it done though.
Yeah, good.
Right after that, there was a car accident and messed it all up again.
Probably.
Nice, Kim.
See effort.
Just saying.
See effort.
All right. Great reports. I appreciate all the good stuff that's going on. Can I get a motion to pass the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
You've got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Kim, will you second?
Steve did.
Oh, did you second? Okay. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. And let's go ahead and go with action item, we'll call it 11C, the Blue Bridge.
You got me confused because I was going A, B, then C, so I will take this on. So Blue Bridge Alliance, that is a 501c3 that started out in Kennewick. The program was to help officers connect with their communities and provide funding if somebody needed food, clothing, something like a tire fixed that they can't afford it, and those kinds of things. So the 501c was developed and put into place. It's kind of a national wide program now. Marysville Police Department, Medina Police Department, in this area that I've talked to their chiefs that use it, find it very valuable because an officer will come up where somebody hasn't eaten in 48 hours and be able to purchase food. I can't tell you how many times my officers have just gone inside to the store, bought food, and gone out. I just did that with a gentleman who has been traveling all over the United States his whole life. He considers himself a hobo. And he was up in Bellingham. He's coming down Highway 9 because you can't hitchhike on I-5 unless you do it illegal. He hadn't eaten for almost 48 hours, and you could tell he was hungry. So I walked him over to McDonald's, bought him a breakfast. He pulled out his instrument and played me a song, and the guy was amazing. But that's the connection that we get as police officers. We're not here to arrest people. We're here to help people, and this provides it. So what this will do. Councilmember Daughtry called me today asking civic groups can donate to this program. We put the fund in. It starts off with $5,000. We don't know how much we're going to use at times. Very little. I mean, most of the time will probably be 20, 30 bucks here, maybe $100 there. But civic groups can donate into a 501c3. We have the North Sound Police Foundation. So what we would like to do is take our money from that foundation that people give to and put it into this 501c3. The down part of it is the money that we put in, if we don't use it, it stays in the program. If we get out of the program, that is a downfall. But I was working with Greg. Greg brought up a good point. We looked on Secretary of State, what their funding rates was. What I found out is Department of Transportation really liked this organization and developed a grant and gave them over $160,000 in a grant to start this program because it was helping the incident response people. You see the WSDOT people out on the side of the road that buy gas for people because they've broken down on I-5, want to get them off of I-5 to a safe spot. They have these cards that they can do that really quick and get people some fuel. So they go fill up the gas can, go out, put in the car in case somebody needs to get out of the freeway to keep them safe. So that's kind of what this program is all about. So if the community wants to donate, they can come right on. We'll have a QR code. It goes right into the Lake Stevens Police Department account, and it's all managed between 501c3. They give us a iPad with the cards, and Sergeant Barnes will be managing that with them. And so all that's done through this program. They give us the equipment to do it. They give us the cards to do it, and they manage it all. We have this whole training. We have the policies and procedures. It all is given to us. We go through training. All the department will go through training on how this operates and how it works out. There's also, if somebody's buying stuff where they're not supposed to, it's all tracked. Every debit we put onto these cards is tracked and what it's for. We have to provide why we're doing it. So there's a lot of good things in place with this thing, and it's a very good program, and it helps connect our community. The webpage I sent to you today, because Councilman Daughtry said he'd like to see it. There is some really good news articles on there with Como, King, and Nationwide talking about this program and the benefits that the officers have seen. So I would highly encourage if you could take just a moment to look at that and get that information. I think a lot of the questions that you may have may be answered on that webpage. Do you have any questions for me?
So I just really appreciate that community focus policing model that you guys demonstrate. I know we've seen it firsthand in our neighborhood. And just it's reflective of the community as a whole. So I know that really your leadership is what helped drives that.
Thank you.
You empower your staff to be able to do that. And so I just, really appreciate that as a parent and as a citizen. It's just really, really appreciated.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I would move to approve the Blue Bridge agreement.
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion to approve the Blue Bridge Agreement and I have a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, you have a motion passed. Let's go to the next one, which is again Lori Erickson with the HVAC replacement of the police.
Okay, so I will share my screen again. Or try to. Okay, I'll give this just a moment to pull up and then I will dive into it. Okay, so on this topic, I am going to be talking to you all about the HVAC replacement for the police department. And the quick agenda that I will run through includes giving you a little bit of background and describing what the problem is. I will also talk about what work has been completed to date, including what the request is moving forward with those budget impacts and the ideal next steps. And before I jump into it, long story short is that the HVAC system at the police department is going out. So I am going to be asking you all, and you can see here, Chief is nodding his head. Yes, it's been a very uncomfortable summer to say the least. A little bit of background and a little more about this problem. The police station and the training building that is next to the police station. These are buildings that are aging. They're about almost 19, 20 years old at this point. And the HVAC system in both of these buildings is actively failing. So one thing to note is that the system at large, it's at the end of its usable life. At this point, we're basically using bubble gum and duct tape per se to be able to try to make the fixes to help keep everyone in those buildings comfortable. One of the ACs is completely out. It's unable to be repaired. We have another AC unit that was recently repaired with parts, but the fix is expected to be very short term. There are multiple components that are now doing what is called hard starting and hard stopping. It's essentially a loud noise that occurs when the system is trying to start up or turn itself off. It's typically a symptom, meaning that it doesn't have much time left as far as it working. The employees working in these buildings are doing their best to try to keep their offices cool. However, when they close the doors, their offices are really cold and then the hallways are really, really warm. I believe Chief told me earlier today that the temperature was around 81 degrees in those warmer areas. We also, in July, had our consultant do a facility condition assessment for us. The final reports are due in the next week or two from those facility condition assessments. Our consultant was Atkins Realis. They did tell us verbally that the system is going out and we should be aware that that's going to be something recommended for replacement. As far as work completed, we've been trying to repair where we can. We've explored other short-term alternatives as well to try to keep employees comfortable. A couple of the countermeasures we've considered include trying to use portable AC units for the buildings. However, they're not compatible with the type of windows and just the layout of those buildings. And we could do fans. However, fans are going to be pushing around just really warm air. What we did as a next step was we confirmed the needs. What would it take to replace or fix those systems? And we received that consultation and quote from a local HVAC professional. The total cost of the project is estimated to be about $150,000 that would replace the furnaces and the AC units in both of those buildings. And the good news is that over the summer, we were awarded about a $76,000 grant, which would pay for about 50% of the cost of this project. As far as budget impacts, we are estimating that this project would be for the replacement of 4 furnaces and 6 AC units total for a cost of $150,000. The grant that we were awarded is through the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant Program, which is a grant we were awarded through the Office of State and Community Energy Programs. However, what we will need is a budget amendment to be able to cover the cost of the remainder of this capital program or this capital project. So the impacts on the budget would happen in the capital project budget. And we would aim to have all of this work done by this fall, as soon as we can. As far as the proposed next steps, they include working with finance to prepare a budget amendment. We would then go to bid sometime in September, assuming that it is approved. We would then select a contractor and install the HVAC system as soon as we can. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Lori, so are we, or Barb, are we looking for? I mean, what are we actioning item? Saying, yes, let's move forward to the budget amendment? Is that what we're saying?
I think it would be moving forward with this project and the budget amendment to come back at a future date. So the future budget amendment coming. That way we wouldn't hold them up if you do want them to go ahead and do
I guess
this.
I'm just questioning if we actually need to have a motion here or just say.
It's really a discussion item, not an action item.
I don't think
Bring
so.
us an amendment, right?
Yeah.
If that's what the council wants to do.
That was an action item.
Get it fixed.
Get
Get it fixed.
Fix it.
Okay,
A
bring us an
basic head
amendment.
nod saying, go forward with
Wait a minute,
go
this-
out and get the bids and then we'll bring back the
This is
budget
for the,
amendment.
this is for the police department. I mean, oh, no, okay, let's go ahead and fix. Oh, he didn't even hear me. Good grief.
And good job on finding a grant to cover 50% of it. That's huge.
Does that mean the rest of the components of that whole area probably are the same?
Oh, they
useful
are.
life,
Yes.
Right? Because we purchased the other portion of that. So
Yeah.
that's something we probably need to look at for the rest of.
Yeah, so as we're looking at the remodel plans, that's all needs to be part of the.
So are we having an issue right now with the other ones where we have tenants in there?
No, I don't think we have any.
We've had some minor maintenance issues in some of the tenant spaces, and we do have a funding source that we're looking at that's a larger grant than this one that Lori just described, that we are going to look at and do an energy audit for the rest of those buildings.
Great. You just know that's on the docket next.
Yeah. That's a retreat discussion. Great, so bring us an amendment, bring the council an amendment is what I'm. All right, let's go forward to, is this gonna be you, Lori, as well?
It is. I have a lot of speaking
right.
time up here tonight. Okay.
Let's talk compost.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing. I don't have anything fun or fancy to share on my screen, but I will talk to you all tonight about Ordinance 1171. This is an ordinance that's regarding the procurement and use of compost products in the city. This is a topic that was previously covered at the July 16th, 2024 council workshop as well, where a draft of this ordinance was shared. As I go through this, I'm going to share some of the key points at a high level, but I invite you, if you have additional questions as I go, feel free to ask those. So to provide a little bit of background on this ordinance, the Washington State Legislature found that landfills are a significant source of emissions of methane, which is a potent greenhouse gas, and that it would be beneficial to improve a variety of aspects of how organic materials and organic material wastes are reduced, managed, and regulated under law. To reduce methane emissions associated with organic materials, the Washington State Legislature in 2022 passed and Governor Jay Inslee signed engrossed second substitute House Bill 1799, sections of which were codified in Chapter 4319A RCW. What this means is that cities or counties are required to adopt a compost procurement policy requiring the consideration of whether or not compost products can be used in our projects. So there's a few things that I want to highlight with this policy that I'm presenting tonight, which hopefully will become the new Chapter 3.55 compost procurement policy in the Lake Stevens Municipal Code. The first thing to note is that when planning projects, the city shall consider whether compost products can be utilized in a project. If they can be utilized, they will be, unless the compost products can be utilized, unless the compost products are not available in a reasonable period of time, if the products available do not comply with existing purchasing standards, if the products do not comply with federal or state health or safety standards, or if the prices are not reasonable or competitive. When planning projects, compost will be considered for landscaping projects, construction and post-construction soil amendments, applications to prevent erosion, filter stormwater runoff, to promote vegetation growth and improve the stability and longevity of our roadways, and for low impact development and green infrastructure to filter pollutants or keep water on site, or both. In short, we have a number of reasons or categories for projects as to when we might be using this ordinance or this policy. The city will prioritize the purchasing of compost products that are made from local, nationally certified organizations. The term local in the policy is defined as providers that are located within a 50-mile radius of the city. And this policy also calls out education and outreach requirements and reporting requirements. I'm going to pause there. Are there any questions at this point?
I've got a couple questions.
Okay.
So within 50 miles, that's one thing. I'm not sure that we have any certified, but I guess we need to make sure of that.
Mhm.
The other point would be is if we have a contractor that's doing the work, is it the city's responsibility to purchase and transport the compost, or is it the city's responsibility to ensure that the contractor is following the law?
It's the latter. But in our bid specifications for a project, we're supposed to have, we're required to assess whether compost products are something appropriate for that project, and they'll have to be incorporated in the specifications that go out for bid.
So I'm assuming that the state law then that came up with this and getting a certified vendor for this, there are certain limitations of how much methane is left in the compost, and they can't sell it unless it's at a certain limitation. Not something we know, but they obviously have some measurement that they have to make before they can sell it.
Right, that's correct. Yeah, I talked with Aaron, and apparently that we do have at least one vendor that would meet this definition of having these qualifications and is within a 50-mile radius.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Who is that vendor, out of curiosity?
I believe it's Cedar Grove.
Cedar Grove.
That's like 18.
How fortunate for them.
Yeah.
The only vendor in 50 miles.
Do they know yet?
Yeah.
Lori, what else you got?
That's all I've got.
That's all you got?
I tried to keep it short and sweet for everyone.
Okay, great.
All these other requirements for reporting, education, so forth, these are all mandates of the legislation, so. Required.
Okay.
So I'll move to approve ordinance 1171.
Second.
We have a motion to approve ordinance 1171 and a second. Do I have any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, we have a new ordinance.
Great.
And
Thank
with
you.
that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.